When they first told me about this, what is that? You know, it's enough like all this other stuff you're giving me. Now what? The Bridgestone Project is a rescue mission that's being orchestrated by many guardian races that have been watching the evolution. There are certain things that are taking place because of what I explained before. We are entering a natural ascension cycle period. We are in that fixed time continuum, and for the first time in 200,000 years, the grid speed, the Earth core grid, vibrates high enough to latch on to the stellar frequency bridge coming down. So yes, our portals are opening, whether or not we're ready. That would be enough of a challenge in and of itself, because there are electromagnetic changes that we're not prepared to do. I mean, if there are imbalances in the electromagnetic grids on the planet, in those areas, you could literally see tectonic cracking. This would not be good. And everything in the power of the higher ones, the ones from higher evolution, they're doing everything they can to get us through this natural transition as easily as possible. If that wasn't enough of a problem, we're dealing with the Illuminati. And we're dealing with something called the intruder forces. Now, the intruders and the Illuminati are a little different. The Illuminati is a large group that has had its presence manifest here through certain human gene lines. There are humans here that carry extraterrestrial codes that are family lines from ancient times that were seeded here by the Illuminati. There are also guardian groups like that too. But the intruders are the real problem right now. They work not directly with the Illuminati, but they are unknowingly controlled by them. Intruders are basically, in our time, are basically the Zeta Reticuli, which are the little gray guys that everybody sees running around. But it's not just the little gray guys. There are various structures of Zeta. Some of them look like moths, upright moths with wings, and about that tall, and they're not very nice. And there are others that are quite tall, but they also come quite small because they clone themselves, because they're like 12 feet tall. They're too tall to really do much here without sticking out like a sore thumb, so they do little clone versions of themselves. They're called the Zephalians. They're the administrator caste for the original gene code of the Zetas that the Greys came out of. The little gray guys are really mutants out of the original Zeta strains. The Zetas have been interwoven in our history at various periods, and for a lot of different reasons, and some of them for positive reasons and some of them for not positive reasons. The main reason certain ones of them are coming back now is because they don't have a place to be, and they know that they can inhabit this planet. They would like to take it over. They already have, in the future time-space coordinates. It's somewhere in, I believe it's 4,230 AD. Our planet is under Zeta collective mind control, and the Zetas run things. And they've infiltrated the planet through hybridization. That is one probable future we are aiming for if it's not changed. Now, the people in the year 6520 AD, they took a different line of development. If we go in this line of the Zeta infiltration, we're not going to make it into the evolutionary pattern of Terra. Because of what is happening in 4230 AD with the Zetas, they're having a problem with another group of intruders called the Dracos. The Dracos, or some people call them lizards, because they look like lizards. The Dracos are a hybrid race. They're half human, and they're half Dracons, which look much more like dragon-type things. They're from the Orion system. There have been problems in our ancient history repeatedly with these groups. These are one of the groups that wanted to destroy our lineage. Right now, not so much the Dracons are here, but the Dracos are here. They're hybrids. Their hybrids always felt that this was their planet. We were created on Terra. This isn't even our planet. They were created here, and they won. They have an agenda, and they are trying to stop a successful ascension cycle from happening here. They are trying to stop our race from being able to accelerate the gene codes high enough to, how to explain it. If we accelerate our gene codes here, which is an opportunity we're being presented with the opening of the halls of the Mente and the opening of the portals that is taking place because of the ascension cycle, we are linked to all races, all human races, and the Tornisian race through the sphere of Mente, which I spoke about in the lecture. and some people may have missed this, the sphere of Mente is our race morphogenetic field. There's something called critical mass. If a certain number of people within one morphogenetic field begin to activate their DNA to a certain level, it'll trigger an activation in the rest of them. Now, in the year 4230 AD, the Zeta are controlling human populations on Earth by using something called a frequency fence technology. It's an electromagnetic pulse technology that beams in certain frequencies that affects the human morphogenetic field of DNA and keeps it locked into a perceptual station where it can't go through its normal evolutionary process. If we, back here in time, evolve our DNA, hit critical mass within the race morphogenetic field, it's going to trigger DNA activation in the future people, and it will release them from mind control. And the Zetas are going to completely lose control over the people there. This is their vested interest, but even the interior government people here don't know why they're really here. They're here to stop this from happening. It's not just hybridization, it's not just we're a poor race that really needs the planet and we're dying and we need your help. That's the line they gave to the government people. It isn't that at all. They are worried about losing their stake on planet Earth. Normally, these kind of little interstellar dramas would not be, they would not have intervention from the higher councils of evolution, because in the higher councils of evolution, there is a hands-off law. You allow things to evolve along their natural course, and sometimes, especially if they're connected to you genetically, you help them a bit. But beings have to learn to be self-sovereign and to govern their own evolution, and they are responsible for their own choices after a certain point. It takes a lot to get the higher councils to agree to let any of the guardian races intervene and mess with our evolution here. Permission was granted in the 1980s because it was seen what was going to result from the activities taking place now, the Illuminati and the intruder forces and the ascension cycle coming up and what that was going to create. If we did not make the ascension cycle and we stayed stuck in the time continuum we're in, see, the ascension cycle will temporarily take the Earth up into the next time continuum. Remember how we had the little cross shape with the 6 little time continuums in it? Well, that was our harmonic universe. There's another one like that in harmonic universe 2. During the ascension cycle, we're in number 6 time continuum here, the top one. That would overlap with number 1 in harmonic 2. So we would temporarily raise the whole frequency of the planet would raise. We'd jump time temporarily and then we'd come back down. If this is not allowed to occur, we would be stuck here. We would just go past that center point. That bridge would not be made to time bleed, and the time acceleration would not occur. But it is going to, because it's still a bridge aligning and because the Earth's core was, at the right position to do it. If we did not, we ended up in the third dimensional time continuum. In the year 2976, that was the year. In the year 2976 AD, they saw that in the third dimensional time continuum, that things were left alone. Because of the Draco's attempt to take over the Zeta, who had already taken over us covertly, the Earth was exploding. And it was not just the Earth. Our Earth is connected to the other star systems through spirals of energy. This is the stellar bridge. It would have taken out part of the Palladium star system and part of the Sirius star system. So it became a major issue. It's not just Earth, it's not just the human evolutionary thing that's at stake here. There's a lot at stake. So permission was granted by the highest councils in harmonic 4 and 5. We're dealing with beings that are completely out of physical manifestation. They made a decision to allow guardian extraterrestrial races to begin helping us here to shift this. Because we can't stay in this time continuum. We have to, they can't get the intruder forces to stop. They would create a battle, a stellar battle, right around us right now. And if that would happen, as we're going into a time acceleration, it would completely blow the planet. So for now, until the time acceleration is over, the Guardians can't do direct force. And they've tried to interact with the intruder groups and convince them, like, look, this is what's going to happen. The intruders don't want to hear it. They don't believe them, they don't care. So the Guardians had to find a way to help us here. And it's like helping a bunch of children, because we know none of this. We don't know our stellar heritage, we don't know the mechanics involved in the energy field. How do you help a group of people on a planet like this? Big question. A lot of them said just forget it. I mean, it's hopeless. But there were others, particularly the Syrian Council, which is a council of beings that are affiliated with root races from harmonic 2 and 3 on the planets associated with the Sirius star system. They're not in harmonic 1, so you won't find them if you go to Sirius now. They're on harmonic 2 and 3. And they have genetic investment here. They were one of the original contributors to the Turinicium 1 experiment that resulted in the 12-strand DNA package. So they're related to us. We're like part of their children. They decided it was worth it to intervene. They created something called the Bridge Zone Project. It's kind of complicated, but the way to make it easiest is to go back to the time continuum cycle. If normally we would either, if the planetary core didn't vibrate fast enough, we would have gone up to the center point in that fixed time continuum and then just continued on our way back down. That would have been one thing that could have happened. Next thing that could have happened, and it was going to happen because the particle pulsation of the planet core is high enough, would be we temporarily bleed through the two time continuums. The first time continuum of harmonic 2 and the last one of harmonic 1 that we're in would merge temporarily. And that would allow portions of the population to literally end up in the Terran time cycle, where they would literally transfer and you wouldn't even see it. It would be a perceptual thing that you didn't even see, but all of a sudden you are also in a different rate. You are beginning to enter Terra. That's how it works. Now, that's the normal thing that we would be aiming for, but because of the infiltrations that are going on here, and the chances of grid imbalances, planetary grid imbalances, because of the technology that the intruders are using, another plan had to be made. The Bridge Zone Project is creating an artificial time continuum between the sixth time continuum of harmonic 1 and the first one of harmonic 2. It's like another little circle over here. It's not a natural part of the evolution that would take place, but it cuts out the part of the time cycle where 2976 happens. It takes us over this way, where we can fulfill that level of the time cycle. These time cycles are pulling in frequency accretion. You need to go through your time cycle before you can pull in enough frequency of a planet to get up to the next level. So the bridge zone is, instead of going up to the center point, which we're approaching, and then up into the D4 time cycle, we're going to go up and over into the D3.5 time cycle. It will take us, a version of us, out of the planet. So better. All right, when we go up, when we hit the center point in the time cycle, in our time cycle here, two things happen. There's a version of the planet. One does not vibrate high enough. Particles that don't vibrate high enough go down, and they finish the D3 time cycle. The ones that do vibrate high enough go up into the D4 time cycle. Literally, two versions of the planet are created. The separation of light and dark. This has been told to us as in biblical terms and those kind of things. It's a natural process. Actually, we don't see it because we're on the planet, but this is what's taking place within the time fields and our place in it. Because the Earth vibrated pretty low compared to what it could, most of the particle base would have stayed in D3, in the D3 time cycle. It's in that time cycle that 2976 was the termination of the planet. So they had to stop most of the particle base of Earth and everybody on it from going in that direction. There wasn't a high enough vibration to make it stick into the full fourth-dimensional time cycle. So they created a third one, just a half step between the two, to get it out of the third-dimensional continuum and give it a natural point of progression where it can evolve back into the natural fourth continuum. The physics involved are quite complicated, but the basic idea is we're going through a natural time acceleration, which is opening of vortices and portals, and B, we're going through a forced time continuum shift to preserve the planet. This is a big project, and they said it's never been done before anywhere in our local galaxy, but they have very high hopes that it will go well. For people on the planet to make this transition successfully, they need to get the accretion level of the DNA to a 4.5 strand activation level. As a being in a dimensionalized system, for you to be able to perceive as solid matter, physical Earth, an Earth that's stationed at the 3.5 dimensional level, you have to have a consciousness and a DNA rate of 4.5. So you will perceive as solid, physically solid, exactly one-dimensional band below where your consciousness and your DNA is stationed. So they need to get us to a 4.5 level so we can perceive 3.5 level of the Earth as solid, where we end up in the bridge zone and not on what they're calling phantom Earth, the portion of the Earth's particle base that won't make that transition and that will continue in 3 cycles. Without understanding the real complex parts of morphogenetic science, it sounds a little far out, but there are transitions that take place. In the time cycle, there are versions of planets. There are probabilities where you have one planet at a certain time, 2 spring off of that. And this is part of the natural cycle. I won't even try to explain that. They're still trying to explain that to me. And it's not that important. What we need to know is we're preparing ourselves for a time continuum shift and time acceleration. We have a lot of visitors right now, and people are being contacted by visitors of all sorts. Some of them good, some of them not good. It's an overwhelming picture, to be honest with you. When they first presented this to me, when I first asked them, can I fall apart now? You know? And I just just lose it, and just took me away to funny farms. I was like, I can't deal with this. It was so technical and so incredible. I didn't know how to react to it, so you go into denial. I don't want to do this. After a while, and it was talking me down a lot on it, I said, okay, I will try to understand. But I'm an individual on this planet. You want me to carry this message to people. But as an individual, I'm asking, all right, so here's this huge picture you've dumped in my lap. What do I do with it? You know, I just turn it off. That was my response to it. And I could see how most people would respond that way. It's so overwhelming. It's so big. There's so much to learn. There's so much to make a transition from where I was before I heard this to where I might be by the time I comprehend some of this. So I asked them, please, just think of me as an individual. How will you make this, for me, something I can deal with and prepare myself for, if I'm supposed to prepare? And they told me that it's important to understand the framework of what's going on around you. The most important thing is bringing your consciousness right home here, and dealing with only first what you need to do with you. There's several issues. One is protection from the manipulation tactics that are going to be used by the intruder forces and the Illuminati. 2 is becoming aware of the morphogenetic field and how you can increase your DNA activation level so you can prepare your body. Because the people that, and it's funny, if 8% of the population prepare their body for these transitions by activating DNA to a higher level, it'll shift by critical mass the rate of morphogenetic field. So the rest who didn't want to be bothered with this information will get a free ride, but at least we'll make it through. The people who don't care and don't want to hear it might be surprised to find their health rapidly deteriorating. Why? You know, I mean, what's wrong with my immune system? Why are my bones becoming fragile? It's a condition called molecular compassion that results from the morphogenetic field being stuck, when it's controlling the body down here, being stuck at a certain pulsation rate. When the higher frequencies start to come in, normally they would move into the morphogenetic field and expand it so it could handle them. Now, if you think, too, that we're dealing with the crystalline morphogenetic field. It's a crystal body, a crystal body structure. As long as there's no blockages to those higher frequencies coming in, it will expand the morphogenetic field as the natural course would be. But because of the distortions in the morph field and in the DNA, those frequencies will hit and it will become like pressure on a piece of fragile glass. And eventually that pressure will shatter pieces of the morphogenetic field. The morphogenetic field holds the blueprint for cellular code. It will begin to create deterioration on the molecular level. And it will be slow in many, It will just be like all of a sudden, like in the next 10 years, wow, why are we getting increases in these diseases? What is this? Must be the environment, must be pollution. Now, molecular compaction, one of the first signs is it affects the bones or the teeth. You'll find weaknesses in bone and teeth. They break a little easier, or you find all of a sudden like teeth are having problems with big crack. They break, things like that. Next, it will affect things to the bone marrow and then into the immune system, which will lead you open to all sorts of things. So it's worth becoming, even though it's a little hard. We all probably hated physics class unless you happen to become a physicist. It's not as heavy as a physics class. It's not like a calculus class either. It's a lot easier than that. It's just some basic processes that through the courses we will be offering, further, that we can prepare ourselves. So we can be the 8% that makes it okay for the rest. Okay, I think...
That's about 1 billion people?
Yeah, here. But, even if the 8% doesn't make it, you can. And that's the important thing. Forget about the rest. You don't want to listen, you don't want to know, fine, don't. You want to call people that are talking to you, she is nuts, go ahead. You want to end up on Sam's Murph? Bye. If that's what it comes down to. We're being faced, as a whole people, with an incredible challenge. What are we going to believe here? I was faced with that when it was presented to me. And I came to the conclusion, I believe either way, but what if they're right? Would I rather do something about this, just in case they're right? And that was my motivation. I said, I think I better pay attention here, and I will try to learn to work with these things. What is nice about working with these things is we don't have to go put ourselves under microscopes and dissect ourselves with, scientific instrumentation. We have within our consciousness everything we need to begin the process of preparing our bodies for time acceleration and for DNA activation. Most people are not taught in this society to realize that every time you think a thought, you're creating an electromagnetic pattern. You're creating a pattern of scalar waves and sound frequencies that the body in the morphogenetic field translates as programs. So when you do things and create with your mind and your imagination, you are creating patterns that will run through the morphogenetic field and directly affect it. When you think about the beliefs that are prevalent out there right now, what we're taught to believe by our societies, our religions, what we think, there are words here, but in the morphogenetic field, they are programs, literally programs, that direct how certain things are going to work in the morphogenetic field. If you're taught you can't control your DNA, you're sending a thought pattern into your morphogenetic field that stops you from affecting your DNA. This is how powerful your thoughts are. The power of thought is important because it's thought, that is substance you're going to be using in morphogenetic science. You're going to be using visualizations, which are creations of light patterns using an interdimensional scale of light that appears to you as inside your head because it's a higher dimensional rather than outside of you. When you make symbols in your head that are made of light, you are pulling light and sound patterns from D4, 5, and 6 down here or higher. When you direct those images created with multidimensional light through your body, through your chakra system in a certain way, and into the morphogenetic field, if you know what symbols to use, what sound tones to tone with them, and where to put them, you can directly affect the program. So the exercise is itself, what's fun. But most people say, well, this is silly stuff. I can play big symbols and move around in my body, and I kind of think, what am I doing, It's like, if you understand what you're doing, you understand what you're doing. Most people don't. When you do this, you are creating change of your blueprint. That's why it's important. The techniques that will be offered are fun, they're meditation techniques, they're calming, but they're different than meditation. Meditations can take you on guided journeys and can take you into states of consciousness. These are field mechanics, bioenergetic field mechanics. They are teaching you how to take specific light, sound, color, form to directly affect the morphogenetic system. And that's what's beautiful about this program. The steps are easy, but the process is
So it's just going to give us step one.
yeah. Step one. All right. The first thing, and I talked about this a bit in the lecture too, is called grounding the D5 archetypal identity. We went through the Hula bodies in the diagram there. The D5 is the center of the alpha Hula body, which corresponds to dimensions 4, 5, and 6. The dimensions of frequency units, the specific bands of frequency, each having 12 sub-frequency units. So what we want to do is to begin to imprint the lower frequency bands that our bodies are composed of, in our mental body and emotional body. We want to imprint that to the imprinted cells in the fifth dimensional frequency. But that is the one that controls what the morphogenetic field of the B1 through 3 body is going to orient. It can be used to purge out distortions in the lower DNA strands. Now, there's a process to purging mutations from DNA strands. It's a two-phase process. One is imprinting the proper codes, and then is activating them once they're imprinted. It takes a while for activation. You can't do activations without imprinting. First, you have to set the new imprint into the morphogenetic field for your three-level bodies. In the exercise called grounding the archetype, we are taking the imprint using the geometry control code for D5, running it through the system to imprint the lower morphogenetic identity. We are taking the alpha Hula body program and superimposing it over the nada Hula body program. And it will serve to realign many of the distortions in the nada Hula body. That's the first part in soul integration. So as you're playing with DNA and trying to protect yourself from this mess that's coming, you're also reclaiming your spiritual identity. You will become your soul one day, fully embodied. You will become your older soul then and beyond. So right now, by working with the archetype, and I'll give you a meditation at the end of it, you will begin the process of reclaiming who you really are on a multidimensional scale. And it will take you into levels of knowing. See, all of you know this. This is the funny part. The part of each of you that is focused, part of your consciousness that is focused in the fifth dimension, the part of you that is the archetype, knows all of this already. It's ahead of us in time. It's ahead of you in time. By bringing that level in to this level, you will know what to do and how to do it. You will have your interior radar of what you need to do with yourself as an individual through these changes. And the changes may get hairy. It depends on how the Earth grid is balanced. We may see Earth changes. It will be unlikely that we'll see a pole tilt, like a lot of people like to say. It could be that bad, but it's not likely that we'll get that bad. But we could see tectonic cracking, and that would be bad. So it's very volatile over the next 18-year period, what in the world we might really see. It's worth paying attention to little things that are so easy to learn, like grounding your archetype. You'll protect yourself from fourth-dimensional invasion tactics like frequency defense mind control devices, which intruders are trying to everything that is used. But you will also learn to handle your own feelings. You'll learn the knowledge that your soul already has. You are a soul. The people here usually just forgot. They forgot their other pieces. So I'm going to do a meditation now. And I would like to be able to turn the lights out for this if we can. Is that going to really mess up? Okay. Okay. Sorry. I didn't have a mic for me in this room. Keylontic meditation. You will be using two geomancy control codes, as we've mentioned before. The geomancies are the composite scalar wave fixed sound patterns of the dimensional scale. We will be using the fifth dimensional geomancy, which is the geometric shape of the pentagram. And that's the shape, and a lot of people are afraid of the pentagram because it's been associated with pagan rituals and things that have been done in ways that weren't of higher order. The pentagram is the control code for D5. That's why the pagans used it. But they didn't use it in higher, sometimes it did. The negative ones didn't use it in alignment with higher order and with the higher level of what we call the law of one, which is the full understanding of the whole God matrix that we're all part of. When we use the pentagram, we never use it by itself. The pentagram is to be placed within the control code for the 12th dimensional frequency band, which aligns you with the full pattern of what God intended you to be here. And we don't use the pentagram by itself ever. So distortions can't take place in what you're trying to program when you use it. It is a programming tool. When you align it with the 12th dimensional frequencies, you have protected it from being altered from what its true intention and its original purpose in the creation of our race was. So the 12th dimensional control code is pictured as the Star of David. And we will be using these two geometries in this meditation. We will be using the pentagram, the 5-pointed star, pentagram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the stuff that you had you read?
It's just a 5-pointed star, the regular 5-pointed star, and we're using the star tetrahedron would be the Star of David configuration of that. Okay, so we're using those two symbols, and we'll just go through a process of visualization and breathing and running those symbols in certain ways through our bodies. I'm not going to identify what chakras we're affecting, but if you look on your charts and remember a bit about where we put what, you'll start to see what parts of our chakra system or part of the morphogenetic field we're starting to affect. But I just want to give you the meditation so you can begin to build up a fifth-dimensional band of frequency around your body in your auric field, because it will seal out manipulation attempts by the Illuminati and the intruders who use the D4 frequency band to broadcast control impulses. This will help you ground your archetypes and begin your spiritual development, but it will also serve to protect you from these manipulation tactics. So that's why a lot of people say, oh, well, as long as you're aligned with spirit and you're being spiritual, you don't have to worry about the little grays or any of that. That is true if you know what you're doing. If you are truly integrating your soul. Yes, those frequencies will stop them from affecting you through the fourth dimension. Okay, so anyway, we're going to do the meditation now. And just begin with having you breathe easy for a moment or two. Right now, I would imagine the breath of everybody is probably right about here and possibly stuck in your throat somewhere because the information that I've thrown out here is a little intense. I would like you to first concentrate on finding where your breath is located because there's probably a ball of tension associated with it right now. I'd like you to move that tension downward. Feel it moving downward into first the solar plexus area, right around where your belly is. And right there, you're going to inhale the breath, and on the exhale, you're going to push that ball of tension all the way down, through your legs, down into the earth core. And you can still feel it there, breathe in. Some of the build-up energy created in the response to the information. We'll be able to focus a little more on slowing the breathing rate so we can be more effective in the meditation. Breathe slow now, easy. Or whatever rhythm is comfortable to you. So try to keep it slow compared to your natural breathing. Slow it just a little. After a few breaths, one or two is plenty. Visualize a point of white light in the center of your brain. Center of your brain, your pineal gland. The white light is the focus of your concentrated attention. Now with the breath, inhale. And on the exhale, move the point of white light downward to the center of your body, down into the navel. white light has reached the navel. Breathe a few times and bring energy into that point of light. Inhale and exhale. Breathe energy into the point of white light as you collect your concentration into that point of the navel. Now from that point within the navel, visualize the image of a 5-pointed star, pentagram. Create it as if it were drawn in electric blue light. Blue is the frequency code for the first image, as is the pentagram is controlled. Breathe a few times on each exhale. Exhale energy into the image of the pentagram until it becomes clearer, until you can see the blue pentagram stationed at your navel. And then begin slowly to visualize the pentagram spinning toward the left. Slowly spin. Let it spin be comfortable to you, whatever way it seems natural. Breathe gently while you do this. Once you have the feeling for the movement of the spin, you will now create the image of the Star of David. And you will put this image in bright white light around the pentagram that is spinning. And you will begin to spin the white star, David, to the right, as the blue pentagram spins to the left. Try to feel the momentum of the spin of the two seeds while you watch them in your imagination. And try to feel a flutter at the navel as the energies begin to move there and the fifth-dimensional imprint becomes stimulated when you look at the navel. Now, we will condense symbols into a point of light again at the center of the navel. This time a point of light colored blue. With the breath, on the inhale this time, you will move the blue point of light upward through the center of your body, through the center of your brain, the cranial, and out the top of your head to about 3 feet up above your head. You need to use more than one breath to move it through it. Stop halfway up, bring another breath in. Take the breath towards up. And when you get it to about 3 feet above your head, then exhale and breathe out. And see the blue spark of light pulsate there. This in 14 shots. Now, you'll concentrate on the blue spark of light. And with the breath, you will bring it downward. Down through the body. Exhale it through the body. Down between the legs, down into the earth, way down into the earth's core. See the blue spark of energy way down into the earth's core. And once it is there, you can imagine it entering the earth's core. You call to mind the symbol of the blue pentagram and the white star of David. Feel them now spinning. Pentagram to the left, Star of David to the right. Feel them spinning in the center of the earth, drawing energy from the earth's core into you, into the symbols themselves. You are grounding the archetype in the earth pattern into your body. Breathe gently further down the quiet as you feel the skin. And then the last 3 breaths. Inhale and full energy, and then exhale the energy into the symbol colors. You feel them grow brighter. And then 3 breaths like this. Inhale. Exhale. Brighter symbol breath. Inhale. Exhale. And a bright symbol. Star of David with the again with the center, the right side symbols now. The core of the earth, like a foundation that connects you deep within the earth. And now, you again imagine the symbol condensing into a point of blue light at the center of the earth. And with the breath, you will gently inhale and bring the point of blue light upward through into the body and into the breast area where the fourth chakra is located. See this point of blue light is centered within the heart chakra area. It's right in the breastbone, and if for those who do not know the chakra, it's around the breastbone in the center. And you picture the blue spot moving back into the center of the body, not just outside over the body. Now, the blue spot there, you will again call to mind your symbol. The white star there with the blue pentagram inside. Inhale. And now exhale very sharply.